this is the Rosebud Thorn Mastermind. So how it works is you're going to tell us Rose, something that's going well right now. Bud, something that you're excited, encouraged about, that you can see a lot of potential in. It's on the rise. And then Thorn, of course, something that you're struggling with. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be even around our curriculum. It might be around the fact that the traffic is really crappy in your neighborhood, and we'll see what we can do to fix it. But it's really just to brainstorm and to throw ideas around, because from our perspective too, it allows us some insight into seeing where we can best support everybody in the program too. I'll give you some very direct one-on-one help. You got the whole crew here. You got Ben, you got everybody but Justin. Ben, Jason, Mira, myself.
Well,
So
I've told anybody who's listening, and that's several of you on several different occasions, how much I'm enjoying this, how utterly different this is from the very many and very expensive and very disappointing courses I've been on before.
Trevor, you recording?
Yes.
And you can quote me on that.
Yeah. Not to get too deep into that, but what has your experience been with other programs, and what's the major difference, just so we have an understanding of what that means exactly? Because that's what we're trying to do, is figure out how to make this massively valuable while still running a profitable business ourselves, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Uh-oh.
Often happen.
There we go. Now you're back.
Kind of.
One thing that happens often, and I know the trend these days is to have a hybrid course. You know, nobody just chucks stuff at you anymore. At least that's what they tell you. But that's what I find, that even this time last year, I committed to something huge. Like this was for me particularly risky because of where my business was at the time. And I did my bit, and constantly I jumped forward because of that. But it by no means delivered. And when they advertised themselves as the hybrid, so you'd always have access to us. But it wasn't like this. I can get hold of any of you in Slack really quickly.
Yeah.
And when you have these events, I mean, I know today it's slightly unusual, but there are so many people on the call that you don't get a chance to ask the question you need to ask. So, you know, right from the get-go, there's far more of the support that you need here. And, you know, I've had to do all the technology side of things myself in the past, so much so that I was saying to Manira earlier on that I misinterpreted or misread, or it was slightly confusing, the instructions for putting the tracking code on my website.
Right.
Actually, all you needed me to do was to fetch the tracking code and give it to you. And I've gone ahead and put it on my website. Partly because I use Thrive themes and there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
And partly because I expected to have to do it myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just great that I don't think I can go too far wrong before there's somebody kindly holding my hand and sort of doing it for me or with me. And
I completely second that.
That's huge.
Cool. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, I was just saying that I completely second that. Like Lysette, I've done a couple of courses myself, and I think there's just kind of a lot of hype around certain words which aren't really true when it comes to reality. And one of them is community. And it's like you do a course and they say they've got a community of people who'll help you, when really they've just got a forum.
Yeah, or a Facebook group.
So you post a challenge on that forum, and you get kind of generic responses, and the actual help you get is loose at best.
Yeah,
it's very, very kind of generic, because it's not specific to your problem, and often your problems need specific responses. Otherwise, you can solve them yourself. Yeah. So and this genuinely feels like a community, like the way people interact with each other on Slack and on these calls. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And I'm hearing all the time, you know, in your videos. In other words, the do-it-yourself bit, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hearing, and if you have any trouble with that, just give us a shout.
Yeah.
And you mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. I feel really excited about the whole thing because I am much further in my business as a result of the last 2 years of massively hard work, you know, compiled on all the other years I've worked so hard. But I have turned a corner, and I'm absolutely convinced. I know it's early days, but I'm absolutely convinced that I'm in the right place and I'm staying.
That's awesome. There's our clip right there, Jason.
Yeah.
So yeah, just some feedback on that quickly. So that's our goal with this, obviously. And then from our perspective, what we're trying to do is figure out how do we streamline what we are actually asking people to do. So like, I know Ben's taking notes mentally right now too about some of the tech stuff you said, because we had like a 2-hour meeting yesterday just talking about that. It's like, which parts of this do we absolutely need? Which parts can we get rid of? Which parts can we make a little bit more clear so that, knowing full well that everybody's going to kind of do their own thing. Like if you have some tech knowledge and you know how to add code into your Thrive themes and you want to do it. Like we're not going to stop you, you know? But how can we just streamline that as much as possible? Knowing that there's always a million scenarios, you know, like there's different website builders, there's different landing page builders. There's so many.
And we're at different stages in our businesses. In many ways, it's a lot easier to do anything like this if you've got absolutely nothing. And so I can do everything your way from the get-go. And that's where I've fallen foul in the past. You know, this way around, we'll just find a way of doing that and moving on.
Yeah. No, and that's another great point. So like the very first freelancers that we're hiring, that we've already hired actually, is funnel builders, page builders, essentially in ClickFunnels. And we're doing that because we know that if we build out all of the pages that we need, landing pages, thank you pages, everything else in between, that we can easily distribute them to people, and it's standardized. Everybody gets to know that tool best. When we first launched this program, we thought about, do we support Thrive themes and ClickFunnels and lead pages and Unbounce? And eventually we had to go, we have to pick one. And to your point there too, like maybe in the future, what we end up doing is actually requiring that people use the tools that we recommend because it just streamlines things.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you know, we'll just do what we can to support you, knowing that you're using something like Thrive themes or, So that's
and to your point that you made several times. I think it was Nima said several times yesterday. You know, just get it done. It doesn't have to be perfect.
That's huge too.